gentlemen, welcome to the 4th Academic Forum of BRICS. We were supposed to start at 10, but I was told that I should keep in with Indian traditions. We should start at least 5 minutes late. So I hope everyone is settled down. And before we start the proceedings, I would like to welcome our chief guest and keynote speaker, Mr. Sudhir Vyas, and request Aarti to present him a bouquet of flowers. And since we're already running late, without further ado, I shall invite Mr. Sanjay Joshi, the Director of ORF, to welcome all of you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dear Mr. Sudhir Vyas, Chief Guest for this inaugural session, heads of delegations of the 5 countries, all the delegates and participants assembled here. Again, a very warm welcome to the business end today of the 4th BRICS Academic Forum. Mr. Secretary, we are extremely privileged that you have found the time to join us today. I know you've been very busy and really neck deep, totally preoccupied with preparations for the leaders' meet as the Sherpa. But your coming here will certainly lend a lot of weight and gravity to the effort of about 60 scholars who assembled here from all the 5 countries. So it has been now over 10 years since the acronym BRICS surfaced in Jim O'Neill's paper. Well, today we live in a world which is, whenever any declarations or statements are made by financial wizards, we take them with a lot of pinch of salt. We don't trust their pie chart so much. But in 2001, BRICS was little more than just a term that has suggested itself because of some numbers appearing on some financial charts in Goldman Sachs. Whatever else it was not a forum. It was far from being a community. 2008 changed not just Goldman Sachs, it changed the world. It also changed the way we started viewing ourselves. And as we prepare for the 4th summit here, in this city of Delhi where we have organized this gathering of all of you, we are aware that we are living in a far more complex world. If one reads the various joint declarations of the 3 summits that have preceded, we hear voices which are beginning to articulate that shift in very, very clear terms. Following the crisis of 2008, 2009 actually saw the first hard landing for the global economy. And the global GDP fell for the first time since the end of the Second World War. That is 1946. And had it not been for some BRICS economies, the decline in the global GDP would have been far more than what it was in 2009. And therefore, it was no coincidence that the first summit, the first forum, took place in the backdrop of this crisis. And the important thing was that the 2008 crisis was not a black swan event. It is not something which struck out of the blue. The very clear and definite fault lines that led to it were not just visible, but had actually been the subject of discussions in the boardrooms of these very financial institutions long before this crisis struck. At least 5 to 6 years before the crisis struck, the fault lines were being discussed. So what 2008 really exposed was the fragility of existing institutions, the inability to handle and regulate new forms and instruments of trade and investment. And it was this fragility which actually left them with no response mechanisms in the face of a crisis that was actually staring them in the face. So the trauma of 2008 gave birth to a very strong undercurrent, the search for a new narrative that could replace the Bretton Woods diktats of yesteryears. So no wonder when countries of the BRICS group assemble, there is repeated stress upon the need for a new global financial architecture that would make the global economy less prone and more resilient to future crises. So this forum where we gathered today, the themes which have been chosen are stability, security, and growth. Stability in an ever-shifting, moving, evolving world, and a stability which is both economic, social, and political. It's stability in the face of economic shocks, volatile food and energy prices, erratic shifts in demand and supply, which in this very closely interconnected world can spread like a disease, a contagion, and tear apart the entire social and governance fabric of nations. Together, this grouping represents the hopes and aspirations of almost half of the world's population. And here there are a billion, more than a billion, who yet to attain any decent modicum of living. And therefore the importance of this theme of stability, security, and growth. Because to be stable means to be secure, secure from threats, both traditional and non-traditional. Without stability and security, there would be no growth. Eventually, these are all things which cannot be guaranteed by the good intentions of joint declarations alone. They need to be guaranteed by building and strengthening institutions and frameworks between the BRICS countries, and this is what you assembled here to do. Therefore, the focus on institution building that is more and more echoed today in all BRICS forum. So the next few days here in India are actually, as I said yesterday in my talk, are days for friends and community. And it is most appropriate that this forum has gathered here to debate their ideas and share in the diverse experience of the experts gathered here. And it is this feeling of community which we are trying to engender that will create the shared community of thoughts which will lay the groundwork for the Summit of Leaders. So last night we already had the opportunity to meet with each other over dinner. And the delegation leaders have also been able to share to some extent their individual perspectives. And we have laid down the broad structure of how we shall proceed during the next few days. There are actually two discernible outcomes which we hope to work towards at this edition of the Track 2 exercise. First, we will discuss and shape projects and research initiatives that are intra-BRICS, that groups and institutions within these countries can take up amongst themselves, be it our shared experiences in social policy, resource efficiency, poverty alleviation, sustainable development, and things like that. The exchange of institutional experiences and processes, the flow of scholars and students, joint policy research across institutions, those are the things we will be talking about. The second sets of deliberations pertain to the interaction of the BRICS with the external actors, institutions, and groupings at various multilateral forums. These could be our engagements with the reforms at the larger array of institutions, the IMF, the World Bank, the UN reforms, trade rules, and so on and so forth. Now, both these baskets of issues must be discussed, and as academics and policy experts, we would try and come up with some recommendations and suggestions that can assist the officials and leadership of our countries to arrive at comprehensive solutions for the benefit of everybody. So the program has been designed to incorporate 4 plenary sessions and 8 breakaway sessions. The plenaries serve as a platform for BRICS delegates to share any general ideas and perspectives that they wish to address. And let me tell you, these need not necessarily flow from the outlined themes in the conference agenda alone. If you have any other ideas, you're most welcome to put them before everybody at the plenaries. It's the breakaway sessions which will focus on specific themes and agendas. And the objective of actually introducing this format is for experts of all member nations to be able to fully exploit the opportunity to voice their thoughts and experiences and suggest viable, implementable policy alternatives. We hope this format will be useful in stimulating discussions over the next 2 days, because we wish to accommodate issues that are both internationally relevant and issues that are specific to BRICS, and move on to both of these. So as we progress to the last 2 sessions, the BRICS delegates will explore the possibilities for institution building and technology sharing. Discussions will go beyond traditional approaches of engaging bilaterally and will seek to build connecting pathways for mutual growth through some market-based frameworks which tap into those streams of innovation and the efficient allocation of capital to promote sustainable and inclusive development. Finally, and most importantly, besides these sessions, the program also incorporates elements of networking in order to go beyond the traditional mandate of being a purely instructional or debating platform. We have designed the forum in a way that it serves to make friends and a community. The ORF has already created a BRICS website that hosts contributions from many of the BRICS scholars, and in the coming months, we hope to make this website more active with the greater participation of all of you. Sir, we have also last evening commenced discussions on a memorandum of understanding that one institution from each of the BRICS countries will sign with the others. This is a way to try and institutionalize this track to process and make it far more comprehensive in scope and frequency. And at the end, we will submit recommendations of the BRICS scholars for consideration with the Leaders Summit and for your secretariat. Finally, I want to thank each delegate for taking the time to join us in New Delhi, and to each of the Indian participants contributing to this common endeavor. And a special thanks to you and your team, Mr. Secretary, the Ministry of External Affairs, which has been so generous with this support right through this, the organizing of this conference. Thank you very much, and I wish to have a very successful forum.